Hi, I'm Michael. You'll see me in another video here after a bit. I just wanted to take a moment to explain what we're doing here. For the 150th celebration today, we wanted to do something special and have Operation Celebration. And so we wanted to ask a few questions to some of our members, both older and younger. So we are asking some of our members, what are your favorite memories here at RCC? And then in your spirit eyes, where do you see this church going in the future? And then for the students, some of them are brand new that have only been here for a few weeks or months. So I kind of made it a little bit of a different question for them. And I just asked, what are your favorite what are your favorite things about youth group here at RCC? Hope this is good. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I'd like to discuss my favorite memory. My favorite memory while at Roseville Christian Church has been to discover that this year was the 150th year of this church and to be a participant in the planning of the sesquicentennial celebration. I just felt God's ministry through this church for so many years has been significant for so many people, and that it has eternal value, which should be recognized and celebrated, giving credit to the Lord for all He's done here. The second question is, how do I, through spirit eyes, envision Roseville Christian Church in the future? First of all, I see a rebirth of spiritual fervor in all aspects of ministry here. I see worship in spirit and in truth becoming more and more a reality. I see a church which has a resurgence of dozens of Timothys to send forth with the gospel of Christ. I see a church where faith is the measure of goals in ministry, where faith is the measure of success for the church. I see Roseville Christian Church as an action center of faith. Fourth, I envision a church which looks less like the world and more like the perfect bride prepared for the Lord's return. I envision a church which doesn't use the following three phrases. One, we've never done it that way. Two, that'll never happen here. Or three, that's impossible. Because we know all things are possible through our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Hello. The one thing that I think of when I think of Roseville Christian Church is the word home. And it has been my home church since I was born. And we grew up the four Chipman stair-step sisters. So a lot of people will remember the Chipman name. My name is Jolise Wainman now. We were all baptized here, married here. I raised my children mostly here, Brad and I, and they were baptized here as well. And so it's been a family. And I think of people like Harry and Connie Bycroft, John and Bev Brewer, and newer Audrey and David Adkison. And it's just the reason that we come to church is to worship God and to be with family, people who have just made an impact on our lives and are just always there for us. And the Sunday school teachers, I would have to mention some of my most, the ones that taught me the most, I guess. Pauline Bycroft taught the 5th grade class, and we learned everything. important about the Christian faith at a very young age. Harry Bycroft, Kim Jackson. She was just a wonderful witness for God and made you feel like you were so special and that God had so many plans for you. And Chris Ward Owsley, she was only here in 1982 for a few months, but as a music minister, we did a lot of things and we had a real connection, and that's what the church is about, is the connection to people, and that's what brings them in, that's what keeps them here, that's what enables them to serve. This church encouraged camp, and I spent many years at Lemoyne Christian Camp, and it was there that I accepted the challenge to go at least 1 year to a Christian Bible college, and I did that. I kept that because of the influence the church had and the camp, and that has trained me for the service that I do here. And you don't have to go to Bible college to be trained for service, but I just feel more confident and I know how to find the answers that I need. So for the future, that's what I want for the people that are coming in. I want this to be their home. I want a place where they can connect with the families here, they can raise their children, and those children can learn to love and serve the Lord.
Some of my favorite memories of the church are the many Christmas services that we had over the years. I can remember many different ones when Jane Young would read from the Christmas story from the book of Luke, and when Jane Atkinson would sing her beautiful song at each service. So that's one past memory that I really enjoy. And the other one is working together with the other men in the church when we built the Imagine Center. That was a great time when many men worked together, and it was a wonderful time of fellowship and of building together. And as for the future of the church, I believe it's bright. I believe God will cause a reunion to take place, and the church will be around for many more years.
My favorite memory happened the very first Faith Promise weekend. My husband and I, Ben, had just joined in that September. After 9/11, we wanted to be more involved with the community, and we now lived outside of town a bit. And Michael, that's when we had the whole weekend. And Michael Stanley was just so incredibly inspirational. And we both went home and prayed about faith promise giving. We'd never done that before. We had tithed, but and we both came to an amount that was 2 days before we would have never, thought near that much. But we did it, made the pledge, and we were able to do it. And it was just an incredible year, seeing God provide as that happened. And then, and just on a note, unfortunately, that was Ben's only faith promise because he did die the next year. But the elders came and prayed for him, and the Sunday school twice. They get over $1,000 to help us out while I lived in the hospital at Peoria. And that always just made me think of the community of the church and what we get. And as I look to the future, that's what I see. Let's continue to become a community, get the kids involved maybe more regularly in the Sunday service. It was a blessing today. And think, what can we do that you want to go, I can't wait to be there on Sunday morning. I can't wait to share this with so-and-so and share my successes and my highs and lows as I walk with the Lord. So that's my vision.
Hello, my name is Austin Winters. I'm one of the newest guys here at RCC. My favorite memory of RCC would be just working with the Kingdom Kids in the youth group. I've been praying to God for a while now to give opportunities to be able to help His kingdom, and Allison provided me the chance to be able to work with Kingdom Kids. And that just opened up more doors to work and volunteer at RCC. For the second question, where I see Roseville going in my spirit eyes, would be just an awakening, really, and one example would be the meals that we helped to deliver on Friday with a few others, and just being able to touch families and be able to reach out to the widows of RCC, being able to just help the community at large. And I do believe that is going on the path of an awakening, or at the very least a revival. And I believe that RCC is going on the right path.
Hi, I'm Michael Garrett. One of my favorite memories here at Roseville Christian Church is when we would do VBS and we would have the fundraisers for the kids, and they would raise money every year. And I was always one who wanted to get involved and be one of the leaders that would get a pie in the face or get slimed. And so I always enjoyed, a couple years ago, I enjoyed when Adam and I both got pied, and then another year I got to slime Adam because the kids raised enough money. And this year we raised money for Helping Hands here in Roseville, and the kids raised enough money to dump 20 gallons of ice water on Allison and myself. So we both had 20 gallons of ice water dumped on one another. As much of a punishment as that sounds, it was a great feeling knowing that the kids raised that money for such a great cause. For the future of Roseville Christian Church, I see a spiritual awakening. I see the students, I see the youth, I see our younger generation growing, which is something that I feel we've lacked for a while now here at RCC. So it's just it's almost like a revival I see happening, and I hope to continue seeing that happen. I'm so glad with where we are, with where we're going, and I love this church, and I love each one of you. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sherilyn Thomas, and one of my favorite memories, or one of the funniest memories, is when Uncle Clarence Bycroft lost his pants. And so Pat and I always sat in the front of the congregation, and so we didn't always know what was going on behind us. And at that time, we had communion at the end of the service. So we would have invitation and then communion. So when we all stood up for invitation, Uncle Clarence's pants dropped to the floor, and Pat and I didn't know that had happened, but there were a bunch of teenage girls sitting behind him and some other people that saw it happen. So then we went right into communion, and Ray Guthrie was giving the meditation, and Dwayne Pratt Sr. was one of the servers, and he was sitting on the front row. And Ray Guthrie said, "We all stand naked before God." And of course, Ray didn't know that had happened either. But Pat and I could see Dwayne Pratt Sr.'s shoulders going. And I said, "Pat, Dwayne must be very emotional today," because I thought he was crying. And he just kept going, So then after communion and church was over, we found out what had happened, that Uncle Clarence had stood up and his pants fell down, and all of those teenage girls were just dying laughing. So that's my funniest story. This church has been my family for 60 years. I have so many good memories of growing up in this church that I couldn't pick just one, except for that one. As Ecclesiastes 3:1-8 says, in my paraphrase, "This church was here when I was born. They have planted seeds in me, mentored me, and watched the harvest. They have done the same with Pat and our children. We have been through tough times and helped each other heal. We have worked side by side at many different projects. We have laughed and cried, grieved and danced. We have loved and argued, but always forgiven each other. We have worshiped and fellowshiped together and enjoyed our similarities and differences. The faces in this church have changed through my 60 years, but God is always placing the right people in my path for each season of my life. I am truly blessed. As for the future of this church, it is in God's hands, but I pray Matthew 22:37 through 40, that we will love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, and mind, and that we will love our neighbors as ourselves. I also pray Micah 6:8, that we will do what is right, love mercy, and walk humbly with God, so that people will see Jesus in us. I hope our goal is to win the lost and love and disciple each other. Thank you, and God bless.
Hi, I'm Allison, and I'm the Youth and Family Director. I can't believe I've been here for a year and 3 months now. It has been an interesting ride. We've had ups and downs, and of course it hasn't always been easy, but it's been joyful because we're on this journey with Jesus, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to be on this journey with all of you. You are my family, and it honestly feels longer than a year. I see so much potential for our church, and I'm already seeing how God is working on integrating the ages. With our volunteers, we have a mixture of younger adults and older adults, and the ministry's been picking up with Vacation Bible School. We were able to reach out to a lot of families, and most of those families have started coming to Kingdom Kids. And we're continuing to reach out, we're continuing to find different ways to reach out to the community. Youth group's also been amazing. I'm so thankful that God has put all of the youth and all of the volunteers and all of you in my life. It's so hard to determine what the future will be, because we can plan our steps, but God is the one who's going to really lay it down, and we need to just follow him. And so I see so much potential, but we just got to keep choosing to follow Jesus and finding ways to do outreach and love the community as the body of Christ. And I'm excited to see how we do that together in these next 150 years. Bye.
Okay. Favorite memories of Roseville are so many, so multitudes, that it would take a long time to share all of them. We moved here on the 6th of October in 1964, and at that time the church was thinking about building a new building. And so we began to reach out. They had been selling at farm sales to raise money to try to build the new church building, and we decided that we would go ahead and build. And so the Easter Sunday in 1965 was our last service in the old building, and then we began construction. We were able to move into the new church building the first Sunday in February in 1966. And so it was a great, glorious time. But the thing that encourages me is the fact that people were willing to work together. I would guess that probably we had 10 to 15 men every day helping and working on the building to enjoy the fellowship. We found out that we would have our dedication, and at the dedication we had 595 people seated in this building and in the fellowship hall. And so that was a joyous, happy time to be able to remember. But one of the things that strikes me that we need to remember is the fact that within 10 months, the building was paid for. And so we find that the people were willing, first of all, to work together, and secondly, to put our faith and our confidence in God to guide us and lead us. And so we reached out and we began to think, and again, another one of my favorite memories is when we started talking about missions. The church had been a missions-minded church. Dorothy Nichols, who was serving in Toppenish, Washington, had been a missionary from that church and is still supported today by the missions program of this church. But as we began to study and prepare for that faith promise, we were told that we could probably double what we had been giving in the past. And so we searched the records, and one year we'd given about $1,200, the next year about $1,900. And so we decided to set our goal at $4,000 for our faith promise commitments. As the commitments came in, one of the most thrilling days of my life was when the commitments came in at a little over $11,000. Just a fabulous, fabulous gift as God caused us to walk in faith and work together. And so those are the challenges, I think, as I remember the fond memories that I have, that we can reach out and we can see great things done when we put our hand in God's hand, walk in faith, and allow Him to guide us and to work through us. To look at the future, I think the future can be bright as we see the church today. Things have changed tremendously. We do well now probably to average 75 in attendance. And yet when we had our faith promise commitment just a few weeks ago, our goal was $100,000, and we exceeded that goal. And so I think there is, again, a great challenge, the great goal for us to reach out and reach around the world. I also see a brightness for the future of the church in our youth program. Allison's working hard to share with the Kingdom Kids and the Catalyst. It's slow, but we see a continual growth and increase in numbers. The young people in the groups that we're sharing with are memorizing the books of the Bible, learning about the gospel armor, to put on the gospel armor. We talked about Solomon and David prior to this. And so there's the great challenge of young people. We have some promising young people in our group, and so we're rejoicing because of that. And the other thing that was uplifting was the fact that last Friday evening, our doorbell rang, and Mary Lou went to the door, and there was a young lady with a Thanksgiving meal for us. And she said it was from the young women of the church. I see that with great confidence and great faith, that here we are working together, reaching out. I think the future for Roseville Christian Church is great, to the glory of the Christ, when we work together and live by faith.
Hi, my name is Essence Brown, and my favorite thing about youth group is being able to be with my friends and even meeting new friends and stuff. And I like to learn more about being at church, because when I was younger, I was a Jehovah's Witness, and it's nice to know the difference between being that and being a Christian.
Hi, I'm April Rodgers, and my favorite memory here at RCC is when I got baptized. My life changed after that, and I see us spiritually moving to a bigger youth group and having more people at RCC.
Hi, my name is Bright Doe, and my favorite part of a youth group is traveling around and doing fun activities, and also eating food here, hanging out with Allison. And what I'd like to see for this church is more youth involvement. Yeah.